Hi Yins, how are you doing today? Hope you're all doing well. I'm Gerald, Ginger Gerald Stitcher. Welcome to my channel. It's been a while. It's been well over a month since I filmed for you, and life has just gotten in the way. And I know I was saying that I was hoping to get back into a little bit more of a routine schedule, but it didn't happen. So I'm not going to say that today, but we'll see what happens. Lots of things have been happening though in life, and so work has been going well. Very, very busy, but everything is going well, and therefore I have not had a whole lot of time till I get home from work and everything. I haven't really had a lot of time and energy to want to film, so therefore I haven't really had the energy, and I really wanted to focus on the things that I wanted to focus on, being my stitching or crafting. Speaking of, if you're new to my channel, welcome and thank you. I've had a lot of new subscribers over the last month or so, so if you've subscribed recently, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope that you'll be willing to subscribe and click on that subscribe button, and if you like what you see here, and continue to come back for more video content. This is a channel for crafting, and I say crafting loosely because it started as a cross-stitch channel, but I have definitely dived into a lot of other crafting adventures, and you will see that today because there's not a lot of cross-stitch. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I'm happy with everything that I've gotten done, so we'll get there. First off, yesterday I participated in my very first competitive 5K race. So in the US, we don't typically use kilometers, but for some reason, when we do races, we do kilometers. So I ran my very first competitive 5K race, which for Americans, that's 3.1 miles if you don't race competitively or know anything about competitive racing. So I have been running pretty regularly, 3 to 5 miles a day. I don't want to say regularly, daily, but on average 3 to 5 times a week I've been running that at a comfortable pace, not in any kind of competitive nature. I run by myself on a normal basis. Yesterday was the very first time that I ever ran a race that was it was the first time I ever ran a race. Needless to say, it was a challenge. And so I'm very happy I did so. It was for my work. It was a fundraising event to benefit the causes that we do at work. And so I'm happy that I did so. There was a total of, I believe, 110 racers, and then also a number of people that did the walk to benefit the company that I work for. And out of the 110 racers, I did come in 38th place. So I'm very pleased with that. I did a personal record, best record for the for my personal record or personal best for my time on the 5K, and definitely will be a while before I do another 5K, but probably next year, definitely for the one at work, and hopefully maybe I will do a few others just so I can get practice on not going too hard on the first mile. I try to keep up with the lead pack for the first mile, and definitely found that was a challenge, but I did not stop running the whole way through, and that was my goal. I normally don't on a normal day, but because it was competitive, I knew I would be struggling just because that first mile was a challenge, but I pushed through and I was very pleased with my result. So very, very happy. Thought I'd put that out there because that's something that I've been working towards and wanted to put out in there. I'm going to throw in a couple pictures here of the day and very pleased. Okay. Now, something you all have been waiting for, the large project finish competition. I have my notes here because I have a lot to talk about today. I have been meaning to get a video out to showcase those finishes as well as the winners. It hasn't happened. It's probably not going to happen. So I'm going to announce the winners today. First off, I want to showcase all of the wonderful entries that we've had for this competition. There was 68 entries for this competition. The competition ran between March and June of the spring of this year, 2019. So thank you all for your patience in willing to put up with me and my untimeliness in this competition. I did have a lot of fun though in completing my large projects. I was able to complete 2 large projects during that timeline, and I know many of you were able to finish many other large projects on your needles and thread. So, and I say needles because I've been knitting a lot, so but thank you all for the enthusiasm for this competition. I am now going to put in all the pictures unedited because I have not had any time. So I'm just going to throw in the pictures here of all of the winner or all of the entries of the large project finish competition. weren't those finishes amazing? We had a vast array and range of styles and finishes. If you have any questions as far as what kind of or what the names of those projects were, please put it in the comments. I myself might not be able to answer them just because I don't have a lot of time with answering those kind of questions, but many of you might be able to also answer and help with those questions. I do know the answers, but I do know what all they are called, but many of you watching might be able to also help with some of those questions if any of you have questions as far as what some of those finishes are. So thank you all again for entering and sharing your results of your finishes. Now, to the best part, the winners of the competition. So we are going to have 3 winners for this competition. And thank you to Evertotes, Carolina Evertotes, for offering up a bag and a, so we have a bag and a, so we have a small cross-stitch bag or knitting bag, whatever. It's a small flat bottom tote, as well as a notions tote for one of the winners. And then the other 2 winners are going to receive a selection of fabrics and threads from Angela at Color and Cotton, as well as one of the winners is going to receive, because one of the thread packs is a little bit larger from Color and Cotton, so I am throwing in one of my own personal stash of Lady Doc Creates Hand-Dyed Chanel. So one of the packs will be this pack of fabrics and thread and Chanel. And the other pack will be the fabrics and threads. And each one is 2 pieces of fabric, the velveteen, 1 piece of velveteen, and the threads. So the winners of the competition are, for one of the Color and Cotton fabric packs, the one with the larger thread pack will be going, yes, the one with the larger thread pack is Lorna Casha. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly, so that many of you know her as Ladybird Stitcher. So she is one of our floss tubers from down under, from Australia. So congratulations, Lorna. Number 2 will be getting the second thread pack, the thread pack and fabric packs from Angela at Color and Cotton, along with the Chanel from Lady Doc Creates. That is Wendy Salatino. Congratulations, Wendy. And the third winner who will be getting the bag set from Evertotes is Lynette Davies. So congratulations, Lynette. I hope you all enjoy the prizes. Please, to ensure that you receive your prizes, I need you all to email me. Make sure you email me. You've already emailed me once to enter this competition, so you all have my email address, and it will be linked below. Please email me your addresses. So email me at ginger.gerald.stitcher@gmail.com with your addresses, and I will get these out to you in the mail. So thank you all again, for all of you, for entering this competition. I hope to have a similar competition next year, and to make sure that I do not carry over the prize packs this long next year. Now, what have I been getting up to? As I have mentioned, My throat is a little dry here with my allergy, so I just need to get a drink of coffee. I've been doing a lot of knitting, and I mean a lot. I think there was 3 weeks in the last month and a half since I've talked to you that is all I did was knit, and I didn't touch my cross stitch. First off, I wanted to discuss my Pearl Soho diagonal pinstripe scarf. So this is my diagonal pinstripe scarf that I started last spring. I have decided I'm not happy with it. I'll never wear it. I'm not enjoying knitting on it. So I'm not going to stitch on it anymore. I'm not going to knit anymore. So I cut off my threads. I pulled back to the nearest, I pulled back as far as I could, and I'm done. This is going to be a unfinished object. I don't know what I'll do with this. I'm not really worried about it. I have so much yarn, and I've already planned out what I'm going to do with the remaining yarn that I have, which I can't talk about at this time because it's probably going to be some Christmas presents. So I just wanted to let everyone know in case there was any questions about that. If people do follow my knitting closely, my Pearl Soho pinstripe, diagonal pinstripe scarf is now no longer. There we go. So my Pearl Soho pinstripe scarf, no more. I have more things that I would rather be knitting on, and I keep finding patterns that I really, really, really want to knit, and that one just does not keep my fancy. Okay, other things. First off, I have a finish, and along with the finish, I have a purchase. So one thing that I purchased that I've been looking for a while now is a set of sock blockers. So I went onto Etsy and I found a pair of sock blockers that I really liked, and I just got them in the mail yesterday. So in order to be able to show off my sock blockers, I went ahead and blocked my new finished pair of socks that I finished a week ago. Maybe, I finished on, I think I finished them Monday night. So just under a week ago. So Monday night, last Monday, I finished my pair of socks. These are, and I honestly don't even know what the name of the sock yarn is, but I do know it's a Knit Picks sock yarn. I got the sock, the sock blockers from Etsy, and I got, so the sock blockers are from Woodico on Etsy. For my foot, I had to get the extra large. And the socks are, there we go. Oh, not used to doing this. So the socks are my kind of own design. I wanted to do a ribbed sock the whole way down, but I didn't want the sock ribbing to just end at the toe. So I did a slow, and you're not going to see it. There we go. I wanted to do a slow fade of the rib down to the socks, so I did a staggered rib to the toe. So this is a Knit Picks sock yarn in Hawthorne, I believe. I just don't know. It's a Hawthorne sock yarn, which is discontinued, and I forget what the color is. Elliot, maybe. And the toe and the heel is a lichen and lace and amber. So there are my socks. There we go. Very pleased with those. Now I can wear them. One thing I've noticed, and it's funny because I've been watching a lot of, because I've been in a knitting frenzy lately, I've been knitting a lot. And I knitted these on a 0. So it takes a lot more knitting to get the knitting done because it's such small stitches. And I've been watching a lot of knitting podcasts, and it's amazing to see the knitters that have weekly podcasts and how much knitting they get done in a week, or how many finishes these primarily women knitters get done in a week's time. But then I think about the fact that the projects I have to do to fit me are so much larger than the projects that most women have to do to fit them. Like my feet are much, much larger. And as you'll see, because my next set of socks I've already cast on. I cast the next set of socks, and these are for my mom. And they're going to go much, much quicker because her feet are much smaller. So these are going to be ankle socks in a Knit Picks stroll called Sunset Hand Paint. So this is Sunset Hand Paint. That's what it'll look like. That's what it looks like. It's a little bit more vibrant showing up than what it actually is. There's a lot more pinks and peaches in the, or not pinks, mauves and peaches in this than what's actually showing up. And here is, I have the cuff and the beginning of the toe done. Yeah, that's definitely washing out more than what it is. It's a lot more subdued than what it is. So there we go. First sock on its way. Again, I'm going to do, just like on my pair of socks, I'm going to do the afterthought heel, because that is now my new favorite heel to do. I prefer doing the afterthought heel the most. I just like the look of it the best, as well as the way it stitches up. Finally, the only other knitting that I have been doing is working on my current sweater. I am currently knitting a sweater out of the Vintage Knits book of Rowan, the Rowan Vintage Knits book. And the sweater I am knitting is called Gerald. That's what it will look like when it's done. Well, hopefully. And just trying to keep a little bit organized here because I have so much that I'm knitting, or so much that I have here. I'm knitting this in the color, again, that's even what, my color is just not, there it is. This is Holskarn, Super Soft, and Marlin. Yeah, that's a little bit more accurate. So what I have been able to finish on that is, so far I have the entire back portion done, the entire, I think since I talked with you last, I've knitted another elbow patch, or maybe I knitted both elbow patches, I think. Both elbow patches. So that's seed moss stitch, or moss or seed stitch. And then I also completed the entire left front panel. Or did I do the right front panel? So I have both front panels done, except for the button bands. So all I have left to do on those are the button bands. Yeah, that's pretty accurate there. So I have the back panel. All I have left to do are the sleeves, the button bands, and then I will be ready. Oh, and then I have to, I think, seam it all together and then knit on the neck of the collar. I'm sorry, the collar of the sweater. And then that will be all complete. And I'm looking forward to getting the sweater done because it's now just starting to get cold enough to wear sweaters here in New Jersey. And so I would love to wear this sweater to work. Finally, in the world of knitting, I have one more purchase that I want to talk about today. I have many other purchases, but I'm not going to show them all today. I did purchase a new knitting book. And I purchased this knitting book because there is about 4 sweaters in this knitting book that I really, really like. And this is a new published book by Rowan. And all these sweaters in this are, or all of these designs in this book are Rowan designs that are, in this Rowan book are designs by Arnie and Carlos. And many of you, if you are in the knitting world, know Arnie and Carlos. They're fairly well known. And so I know this book is definitely going to come in handy with me as far as my knitting world, because it's hard for me personally to find a lot of men's sweaters that I really like to knit or that I find very interesting to knit. And within one collection alone, there's 3 or 4 that I'm definitely interested in knitting. So I already have the yarn picked out for the next sweater that I'm going to knit, and it's out of this book. And so I'm going to show you the sweater that I'm going to knit, but I'm not, that is the sweater that I'm going to knit. There you can see a little bit better of the sweater. It's going to give me a different technique to work on because, of course, knowing me, I always like to go the next step and learn new techniques. It uses intarsia to knit the color work, but I'm going to hold off on showing you the colors that I picked for this sweater until I'm ready to knit. So hopefully once I get the sweater that I currently have on the go done, get some other projects started that I do have in my queue, which is back here in this cabinet, I will definitely get this sweater going. I already have the yarn ready, and I'm really excited about this sweater. Now, for what most of you are here for, my cross stitch. And while I've said there hasn't been much progress, I have definitely made some plans and worked out some ideas and did make some progress. So first off, I wanted to talk about something in my last video that came up in many, many comments, and that was this thing that's been hanging around for a really long time. So my Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, is that what it's called? Frosted Pumpkin Passport Sow. Let's go with that. So the Frosted Pumpkin Passport Sow, and this has been on the go for, this is probably like what, my oldest project right now. I am going to finish it. I know people say, oh, you can just finish the top row and it'll look great. 2 things. I agree with that, but I know it won't be finished and that will drive me nuts. Secondly, I now have a purpose for finishing this, which is awesome. So at work, for most of you that know me, I work in a special education school. We are currently in the process of creating a bedroom for students to learn adult daily living skills. Primarily in the bedroom, it would be making a bed, vacuuming the floor, hanging up clothes, folding clothes, dusting, all those different things that you would need to learn to be more independent in your adult life or for them at their current ages in their pediatric life. I thought this would be a perfect place to put in. We're installing 2 in the building. And so I thought this would be a great addition to that, just to make it a little bit more realistic looking, because what child doesn't have a picture hanging up in their bedroom? And so while I personally don't want this hanging up in my room or in my home, I do still want to finish stitching it. And I would love to see it hanging somewhere that it would bring joy. And I know that having it hanging in the school, many people would find a lot of joy from it. And I've already talked to the rest of the leadership at the school, or many of the leadership that are in charge of that project, and they are in agreement with that. And so I will be finishing it here in the near future. Fingers crossed. I say that with leniency. And hopefully I will get this done and have it hanging in the school for the students to enjoy and learn how to dust. So that is my goal for that project. And with that, I will now have a purpose for why I need to finish it, which will hopefully give me a reason. But I've known that purpose for 3 weeks now, and I still haven't touched it. Okay, so the other project that I've had on the go that I've been working on is my Jacobean bell pull. So I'm working on the main project right here, my Jacobean bell pull. Since we last talked, I finished page page 3. I finished page 3 and I've started page 4. Unfortunately, I've already rolled up the scroll rods on my quantum frame, my Omnic frame. Therefore, I can't show you on the video what I've done. So I'm going to insert, if I remember, so don't hold me to it if I forget, but I'm going to try to insert a picture here of what it looked like when I completed that first page or that third page. If I didn't insert a picture, you can always go to my Instagram, because I do know I shared a picture there. And here is where I am since I started page 4. So keep in mind, I'm counting from the bottom up. So there's a total of 5 pages for this pattern. I'm now on page 4 from the bottom. So this is page from here up is page 4. So page 4, and then there's one more on top of that. So I'm currently working on all the branches. This is branches like 2/3 of the way up the page. And then I will have to fill in all the greenery and the leaf. And then I'm kind of, so here's what happened. I was working on this. I finished page 3. I moved the scroll rods. And then I started knitting. And I think I lost interest in this project, but I didn't take it off my frame. But I really wanted to get this project done. And I'm close to a finish on this project. Because as you go up the project, up in the pages, there's less and less stitching on each page, because the tree or the vine is getting narrow, or is getting less and less in the stitching. Therefore, I'm really kind of pushing for a finish, and I would love to have a finish on this. There's 2 projects right now that I would love to get finished this year. This is one of them. I'm not going to tell you the other, because I'm not going to hold myself to that. But I would really like to get this project finished. And the reason I want to get this project finished is because I have another bell pull that I would really like to get started. that I bought last year at this time. But I'm not going to start that project until I get one bell pull done, because I want to use this frame for that bell pull. And I can't use this frame for that bell pull because it's pretty much the same size. And I already have the fabric and everything cut out because it's the same exact fabric of this. This is a 40 count white Verdal even weave that I coffee dyed or coffee dipped myself. So that is my plan. So I would really like to get this finished so I could get that next one started. Again, I'm kind of on this, I want to get stuff done. I kind of want to purge all of my current projects so I can have a whole bunch of new starts. I say that, but I had a new start. Oh, jeez. I had a new start, but in a matter of 3 days, it's also finished. This is in my very first ever tote bag that made Caroline and I friends. Just thought I'd throw that out there because I bought it exactly this time last year, 2 years ago. So, came with the Notions tote. And we will talk about that here shortly because everything in here. This is a project that I kitted up from Stash. And I've been wanting to start these for a while now. So the other day when I was wanting to stitch, but I wasn't feeling the Jacobean bell pull, I was talking with my mom and brother on FaceTime. And they're like, well, what do you have to start? And I showed them what I was interested in starting. And they're like, oh, well, what else do you have? So we sat and we went through every single thing in my cabinet. And this is one of the things that kind of stuck out to all of us. And so this is what I chose. So this is the Summer House Stitchworks Fragments in Time from 2017. And I have all 8 of them. This is number 1. And I have done my own color conversion. I pretty much kept to the same colors, just that I used the threads that I had in Stash. So I used all color and cotton except for one of the called for. So I only had 2 of the called for, but I tried to keep to all color and cotton, but I didn't have one color and cotton that came even remotely close to the one green. So I used the one General Arts sampler threads that I had. The only thing that I did not add to the project were the letters. Where are they at? The letters, because A and E have no significance to me. And to me, they don't hold any weight on the project. I think the project stands alone without. You can have the project. The project looks good without any letters there. And I'm not a huge font or letter person to begin with when it comes to stitching. I used a 40 count Old Mushroom linen by XJU Designs on Etsy, XJU Designs. And this is, and even the fabric is very modeled for me. So this is like way out of my comfort zone. This is what it looks like. And it is complete. So I'm going to do all 8 individual, and I'm going to make small pillows, probably small pillow ornaments, and then I'll do something with them. Not sure what yet. So there's number 1. I really, really like how it turned out. That's more accurate in colors. So the colors I use, just so you know, whenever I had a subscription to Color and Cotton Threads, I went digging into my stash, and so I used the Gentle Arts that I used was Endive for the green, because I didn't have a green close enough to that for the dark green. I used Color and Cotton Maritime for the blue. I used, and the rest are all Color and Cotton. Gold Mum for the gold. Dried Sage for the brown. I'm sorry, it's not. Let's do this. That's not, it's showing more green than what it is, but that's brown. And Verbena for the light green. And the plan is to finish these, again, like I said, in small pillows. And I have this really nice wool, fat quarter of wool that Yvonne, the Night Owl Stitcher, had gifted me. And since she is the one that was stitching these, that had me catch my eye to wanting to even purchase these, because these are kind of out of my realm of stitching interest, that I thought it would be perfect that I use the wool to finish them off that she had gifted me. So that is how I'm going to use that wool to finish off the back of the pillow when I get all 8 done. And so I thought these would be great little smalls to stitch up in between working on the large finishes or the large projects that I have on the go right now. Because I used to have a lot of smalls, like whenever I was stitching the planets and everything like that, and I haven't really stitched any smalls in a really long time. So thanks to my mom and my brother, because I know they're watching, they got me to stitch some smalls and get my interest back into my stitching again. So thank you. So that is my stitching. I have not made any purchases as far as my stitching is concerned. I don't plan to. I don't think I did. No, I don't think I made any stitching purchases. It's basically been all knitting, and I have made some knitting purchases other than my my sock blockers, but it's basically yarn, and it's sock yarn and my sweater yarn. You'll see it quickly because I knit socks up pretty quickly. I'm not making any plans as far as my stitching because who knows what will happen, other than I would like to get my Jacoby and Belpool done in the near future. But again, it's not a hard plan, like it has to get done. I'm going with the flow. So with that being said, thank you all for continuing to stay with me and hang out with me on these videos. I hope you all really enjoy these videos. If you do, please make sure you click the like button, the thumbs up button, and please leave a comment. I do read all the comments, even though I don't always comment back. I try to heart as many comments as I possibly can whenever I have a chance. And I will always answer the questions that I have answers to. And if not, please share and answer questions. If you see a question in the comments that you have an answer to, please make this a forum for answering questions that, a give and take as you will. Thank you all again for continuing to follow me and subscribing. Again, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I look forward to having some giveaways here in the near future. I already have some stuff in the works, and I will be back soon, loosely soon, with another video. And until then, don't forget to always be creative.